that there was community spread, which means that it isn't just a travel-related case. Then it became clear that we were in real trouble.
When was that? When was that?
Well, that was probably towards the middle to end of January.
Okay.
A new study has identified 3 distinct strains of the novel coronavirus, with each variant being dominant in different parts of the world. Surprisingly, the original strain, which has given birth to the 2 subsequent mutated versions, is not the most common variant found in China. Our Lee Kyung-eun explains.
3 varieties of COVID-19 could be circulating the globe. Dr. Peter Forster, a geneticist at the University of Cambridge, and his team traced the origins of 160 samples collected from December 24 to March 4th and identified 3 closely connected but distinct strains. Type A is the original strain of the virus that is the closest to the genome found in bats and pangolins in Wuhan. Type B is a mutation of Type A, and Type C is a further mutation of Type B. According to the study, the spread of each variant turned out to be rather unexpected. Type A, the original strain, was not the most common in China, where the outbreak began. Rather, what was most common in the country was Type B.
Type B was then the first genome to be picked up in Wuhan when the disease became apparent. And so researchers might be forgiven for thinking at the time that B is the original type. But actually it's not, it's Type A.
Surprisingly, Type A was the main variant found in samples from the United States and Australia. 2/3 of American samples were Type A. The scientists also noticed that Type B is largely confined to East Asia and Type C is predominant in Europe while being absent in China. They believe that the virus has mutated in order to overcome different immune system resistance in different population groups. The research has yet to trace the exact root of the virus, but has helped scientists find the virus mutation pathways and potentially predict future trends. Lee Kyung-eun, Arirang News.
Rhetoric is so strong against China. It's over the top. A little bit like Hitler in the 30s. And now in the United States, if anybody says anything reasonable about China, he or she feels intimidated, afraid his head's going to be chopped off. But there are a lot of very responsible people in America who know that this China bashing is irresponsible and we're going to pay a price the more it continues. That's what I'm saying. But they're afraid to speak up.
I was gravely, gravely ill in November when I was certainly gravely ill, and I'd never been that ill in my adult life. I stand up to say that I was sick in November. I met all of the criteria. I have a positive antibody test, and I am certainly not alone in my assertion that I was sick in November. There are many, many other people. I'm a mayor of a city in New Jersey that's been ravaged by coronavirus. I think that gives me some credibility to speak on this, and I think I have a voice.
这段视频啊，我也看到了，而且我看了好几遍。
But the best experts so far seem to think it was man-made.
The scientific consensus was not man-made.
That's right. I agree with that.
Okay, so just to be clear, you do not think it was man-made or genetically modified.
他之所以前言不搭后语，是因为他一直在编造，用谎言掩盖另一个谎言，这已经是公开的秘密。
And working closely together. I'm not happy with China.
China has demonstrated an unprecedented level of transparency.
We could have been better off if China had been more forthcoming.
Working very closely with them, and they made a mistake. I'm a little upset with China, I'll be honest. Working very strongly with China. We think we have it very well under control. China's working very hard. They are trying very, very hard. But they built a hospital in 7 days.
Do you see the data China has been sharing with the United States has been helpful?
I think it has been helpful.
Tonight, the number of cases of the coronavirus has now soared past 17,001.
The death toll in this country surpassing 20,000.
The number of confirmed cases has topped 1 million here in the U.S.
Many times that the U.S. is doing far better than any other country when it comes to testing.
Yes.
Why is this a global competition to you if every day Americans are still losing their lives?
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world. And maybe that's a question you should ask China.
you saying that to me specifically?
I'm telling you, I'm not saying it specifically to anybody. I'm saying it to anybody that would ask a nasty question.
So that we are certain, I can tell you that there is a significant amount of evidence that this came from that laboratory in Wuhan.
Totally consistent with a jump of a species from an animal to a human. So, I mean, the paper will be available. I don't have the authors right now, but we can make that available too.
Although the weight of evidence seems to indicate natural, but we don't know for certain.
U.S. intelligence officials have concluded COVID-19 was, quote, not man-made or genetically modified.
The best experts so far seem to think it was man-made. I have no reason to disbelieve that at this point. I've seen their analysis. I've seen the summary that you saw that was released publicly. I have no reason to doubt that that is accurate.
But seriously, but you said in multiple interviews on May 1st, April 30th, and other days, some version of, we don't know if the virus came from inside the lab in Wuhan. And then on Sunday, you said there's enormous evidence the virus came from inside the lab.
Those are both true.
So did the intelligence change over the weekend?
Those statements are both true. They're entirely consistent. I'm happy to try to answer it again. I'm not sure. We don't have certainty about whether it began in the lab or whether it began someplace else.
We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses.
Do we have enough masks?
Does the country?
Yes. Do we have enough tests? Yes. Do we have enough ventilators? Yes. Do we have enough hospital beds? Yes.
Well, what do you say to, I mean, you watch the coverage.
We need masks. They're made in China. We need gowns. They're made in China. We need face shields, ventilators, testing agents. They're made in China.
We're finding very little problem. Very little problem. You treat this like a flu.
Very, very much more transmissible than flu. It's significantly more serious.
In theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away. I hope that's true.
But there's no guarantee it's going to diminish when the weather gets warmer.
I'd love to have it open by Easter.
That we should not cling to that false hope.
And we think some of the states can actually open up before the deadline of May 1st.
I think that's a bit overly optimistic.
I think what happens is it's going to go away. This is going to go away.
So it's not going to disappear from the planet, the virus, or maybe it never even went away.
Every one of these doctors said, how do you know so much about this? Maybe I have a natural ability. Maybe I should have done that instead of running for president. Hydroxychloroquine, and there are signs that it works on this, some very strong signs.
An effect, and there are others to show there's no effect.
Then I see the disinfectant that knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that? Injection inside or...
It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's just really sad that our president...
disinfectants into people will quite often kill them.
I'm not a doctor. They have to work with a doctor.
He said they've seen a spike in people using disinfectant after your comments last week.
I can't imagine why. I can't imagine why, yeah.
Take any responsibility?
No, I don't. No, I can't imagine. I can't imagine that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
Mr. President, what do you say to Americans who are concerned that you're not taking this seriously enough and that some of your statements don't match what your health experts are saying?
That's CNN, fake news. Go ahead. Thank you very much.